found the problem with the noise in that 4-liter Ford Sport Trac. This video here is going to be not on doing that, but the issues I found with specifically with the Sport Trac and a few other ways to do things maybe a little simpler. For those of you looking for a step-by-step video on how to do timing chains, I would highly recommend FordTechMakuloco. That's who I use to watch to be able to pull this one apart and do the timing correct. My video is not going to cover that. I'd highly suggest watching his, and I'll leave a link in the comments below. So I've got in here a 2001 Sport Trac. It seems to be making noise. Not when you first start it up in the cold, but when you let it run for about 5-10 minutes, it sounds a chattering noise in there. I'm pretty sure it's timing chain. You can hear it in the front part of the valley, and you can hear it on the back part, and I guess there's 4 timing chains in here. So we're going to be popping the hood off of here, pulling the motor out. You got to pull it to change that back one, I guess. And fix a few oil leaks on it at the same time. It's not using any oil, so it's probably worth spending a little bit of money on here. And it's got 340,000 on it right now. So while I was tearing this apart and unhooking everything here, ended up watching a bunch of videos on here. The biggest problem I had was trying to get the starter out. And all the videos I watch there, and guys are going through the wheel well and pulling them out with the car jacked up and the tire off, or they're pulling them out the bottom somehow. Of course, there's no great footage of how they're doing it, so I assumed that I got something going on wrong on my end. So I watched a video and another video and another video, and apparently there's a dampener on these Sport Tracs, only for 4 or 5 years, and it said something about it being 2004 and later, so I took that as 2004 and later years, not earlier years. Apparently this one has it. You got to pull 3 bolts in a god-awful location to get it out, to be able to even consider sneaking the starter out. Even with the dampener off, it's a real pain in the butt to get it out. I'll show you a video of that up here, of trying to get it out, a couple pictures and a video. That was probably my biggest glitch that caused me the most amount of setbacks with pulling it. And as far as I know, that's only Sport Trac related, and it bolts onto a bracket there that holds the front diff to the frame to keep the pinion from walking up and down. So just so you all know that, like I say, I didn't find anything on here. I ended up finding it between a Haynes manual and a forum there, one guy asking about it, and he broke bolts off on it, getting his off as well. I don't know if I'm putting it back on yet. I'm gonna put everything together and try it first. If it drives like it did before, I'm not gonna worry about it. One less thing to have to play with to change a starter on the side of the road. The next snag I ran into is you actually do need the timing tool set for doing these. I was kind of figuring I could come up with some way to get around having to buy the overhead cam holder and aligner. Me and another buddy of mine that's a heavy-duty mechanic went and on teardown here, went and looked at it pretty good, and we decided didn't need the one to align the actual crank itself, but either you spend the money and you buy an OTC tool set for just holding the one end of the cam, or you buy the Chinese one for $150 Canadian, and it comes with everything anyway. So I ended up buying the kit. A lot of the times they tell you need all these specialty tools to do these projects, and been able to get by without buying them and maybe making 1 tool or 2 tools. I remember I ended up doing a transmission there. It had 3 pages of specialty tools, and I made 1 tool and then I modified it a second time, and that's all I needed to do for what I had to do on that 4R100. So a lot of the times you can get by without, but this is a case where you do need the cam tool set. One shortcut I was able to make on here though, A little different than FordTechMakuloco. I decided I was not going to drain the air conditioning on there. I was able to remove the air conditioning compressor off the mounts there on the block and just remove the transmission cooler lines and the radiator. I was able to leave the rest of that all intact without having to drain it. And with that space free, I was able to still slide it forward enough and get it out without the fan shroud and radiator in the way. So just for those guys wanting to save a couple of bucks on air conditioning work, it is possible. So with that being said, let's cut to this dampener here that I had to pull off. That was the root of most of my problems, and a lot of time spent on something that sounded like it was so easy just to pull a starter out through. Well, here you can see that vibration dampener that was labeled in my Haynes manual there. How it goes up over the pinion shaft of the differential and onto that flat bar on the other side of the U-joint there. It gets bolted on with 3 bolts. They're a 13 mil head, and very hard to get out. You can see all the oil leaks in here too. That bed plate's been leaking pretty good on there. But that's the root cause. Was could not for the life of me get my hand up and around there to do anything. You can see I already got the starter unbolted through the wheel well, but it wouldn't come out of there either. Apparently this is where you access the starter. I didn't think they'd make it this tough, but you know, I've changed probably 100 starters over the years on different vehicles and stuff, and I've never had to pull other stuff to get a starter out. Always been able to reach up and undo the bolt somehow and get her out. Watched a few videos there, and from different people on YouTube, thinking, you know, what am I doing wrong here? And one guy did it from the bottom, reached up and did it. Another guy did it through the wheel well. I tried that too. And apparently this weight here that you're seeing in the picture hanging over the diff, it attaches up with a piece of flat bar right up here on the diff, and it's a vibration dampener of some kind. And what all these other vehicles didn't have is that. So I've got to pull that off. It's been pretty tough. I've been on there with a 2-foot ratchet and everything. It's only a 13 mil socket, so it should be coming out. You can see the starter right there. It's loose. I got it loose through the wheel well. Everything undone there, but I just can't get the thing out. Can't get it out through the wheel well. Can't get it out through the bottom here. So yeah, apparently for about 4 years they put these weights on the Sport Trac for some reason. So managed to get it out there, I guess, but I broke one bolt off. And that's been the piece causing me all the grief under here. Right there. Hangs up over the pinion, bolts onto that flat bar. Takes up pretty much all the space you can get in and out of there with. Well, as you can tell, I got it out. I won with all that stuff in the end there. And you can see the shrapnel that we fished out through the different parts of the oil pan and block, etc. there. All that plastic decided to disintegrate all at once there. The rear was rubbing on that bolt there, the chain, and the front one there's a bunch of shrapnel down there too, but it wasn't rubbing on metal. But that's where the noises were coming from, on the front and back of the block. Well, thanks for watching, and remember to check out FordTechMakuloco's channel there for a much more detailed description on how to actually tear in and retime and reinstall this 4-liter in a Ranger, Explorer, Sport Trac, etc., whatever. And like I say, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll keep sending more.